Hi, this is Eric from Audioholics, and today we're talking about soundbars from Vizio. We have a range of soundbars we're going to look at today. Two of them are 2.1 and two of them are 5.1. They come in a variety of price ranges starting at $99 and going all the way up to $350. They all have a different variety of features, but the first thing I want to talk about is Vizio didn't skimp on the pack-ins for any of these. No matter which one of these you buy, it's going to come with an installation kit, which includes all the brackets you're going to need to mount this to the wall or to install it in your listening environment. They also include both an optical cable and HDMI cable, and of course the associated power cables. And furthermore, they come with a quick start guide and then a more involved, actually very involved, detailed instruction guide so that you can get the most out of the features available in the model that you select. The first thing I'd like to really talk to you about are the 2.1 versions of the Vizio product, and I have two of them right here in front of me. The first one actually comes right in this box. It is the V21D, and the first thing that comes to my mind with the V21D is that it's supposed to be a 2.1 soundbar, but 2.1 suggests that we're going to have a set of stereo speakers and a subwoofer. But the only thing that comes in the box is this one soundbar. You see, Vizio believes that this soundbar is the equivalent of two stereo speakers and a subwoofer. It's kind of an unusual design. It's got kind of a trapezoidal cross section there. And if you look on the back or the bottom, you'll see those two vents that are there. And you'll see mounting holes located right next to that. There's a notch in the bottom there, so if you do mount it on the wall, this side goes against the wall and the cables slide in under that notch. But also it's designed to sit right on your cabinet, just like so that you can play it this way as well. They've installed a set of passive radiators, and they believe that it provides the same kind of sound performance as a separated subwoofer and soundbar. In fact, they advertise the V21X, which is this soundbar, to be of a similar quality and similar sound as the V21D, but the V21X also comes, of course, with a separate subwoofer, which you, of course, place on the ground, maybe at the behind the couch or next to you on the couch. Now, having listened to both of these products, I can tell you one thing. They are both a big step up from just having your television speakers. They give you a broad range of sound across a very wide variety of listening environments. They are both Bluetooth, both have optical inputs, and both have HDMI ARC inputs. Both the V21D and the V21X support Dolby Audio and DTS Surround Virtual. At least that's what they say on the tin. They come in 4 different listening modes: gaming, movies, music, and enhanced dialogue. One thing they share is the remote control that operates them, and the devices themselves communicate what mode they're in by a set of dots and codes that display on the front of the panel, which means that in order to understand what mode your device is operating in, you're going to have to be able to take a look at the dots that are presented at the front and decode the dot code into what mode it's set up. Now, the nice thing is that when you switch modes, it will alert you to the mode that you're in, but once it's in that mode, the only way to know what mode it's in is by decoding the dots. Volume and changing the power of the left and right, or turning up the virtual surround or down the virtual surround, all of that is just a set of dots that's displayed on the front of the soundbar itself. So the instruction guide will step you through the things you'll need to know in order to decode that. But at the same time, that's one of the things that you're going to have to sacrifice in getting the less expensive models, is you're just going to deal with the dot code as to what kind of mode it's in. The nice thing about the V21X is that it does come with a separate subwoofer. And the subwoofer itself isn't wired, it's a wireless subwoofer. So all it takes is power, and once it's powered on, it will automatically look for and connect with the soundbar, which means you can place it virtually anywhere in the room. As long as the wireless signal from the soundbar is strong enough, you shouldn't have any difficulty getting sound out of the subwoofer. hold on to that thought, because it's going to come back up when we talk about the 5.1 surround soundbars in a few minutes. Now, I played both loud movies and movies with a lot of action, several video games, first-person shooters, and family fighting games. And then I also played music both through the Bluetooth and through the HDMI interface. And I found both of these sound very similar. For the difference in price of $50, the one without the subwoofer is $99 and the one with the subwoofer is $150, you can tell a clear difference with the separated subwoofer, giving you a better bass response for sure. When I did play them, I did not mount them on the wall. I had them sitting on the stereo cabinet. I was between 4 and 6 feet away from the stereo cabinet and the television that I was watching. And throughout the entire process, I was able to play both of them right back to back, so I could hear one versus the other very clearly. They operate in an identical fashion and they sound almost exactly the same. It is clear the one with the separated subwoofer is going to give you more bass, but not terribly much so. In some cases, if I close my eyes, I'm not sure I could tell the difference between each of these two soundbars. At the same time, I had the subwoofer placed in front of me, and the guide suggested putting the subwoofer in the chair next to me or next to the sofa if that's where I was sitting in a sofa. So I hadn't operated it that way. I left it in the front because that's where the plug was easiest accessible for me, and I left it there throughout the duration of the test. I will say this, playing video games with this was fun, but the virtual surround doesn't really sound much like a surround. It gives you kind of an echo effect, but it's clear the speakers are in the front. Both of these sound bars do not come with the center channel. They come only with 2 speakers and they simulate a center channel, which gives you kind of a virtualized surround, but there's not really much of a virtualized surround there. But I will say that they both come with an incredible number of small things that you can tweak to tune the speakers to your surround environment, or at least to your listening environment. And more importantly, they are much better than anything you'll get out of just a standard television. Now, the V21D and the V21X are definitely an improvement on any speakers that are going to come with your television, but they're not going to provide you a surround experience. For that, Vizio has the V51 and the M51A set of speakers. They do what they say on the tin. The V51, which is what I have displayed in front of you, has 3 speakers in its soundbar. It has 2 surround speakers, and it comes with a subwoofer that is almost identical to the subwoofer that comes with the V21X. In fact, if you compare the two by size, they are exactly the same. However, it's on the back that it's really going to be a difference. The V21X has no outputs for the rear speakers. What Vizio has done is they've put on the V51 series, they've put the outputs for the rear speakers in the subwoofer, which means that there is a wireless connection between the soundbar and the subwoofer, and then the rear speakers connect to the subwoofer. So in the setup guide, what they recommend that you do is you place your subwoofer, behind you or maybe next to you on the couch, and then it's very easy to run your surround speakers to perhaps tables that are behind you. The cabling is all included along with, just like the other V21 and V21X and V21D, they provide you with an optical cable and an HDMI cable. But in this case, you're going to get a full 5.1 experience without having to run wires from the front of your room to the back of your room. That's going to be sent wirelessly to the subwoofer, and then the subwoofer will output that sound to your surround speakers. So the subwoofer contains not only the amplifier for its sub speaker, but it also contains the amplifier for the surround speakers. In practice, I had very little difficulty setting the system up. In fact, the system setup was almost instantaneous. I turned on the subwoofer, I turned down the soundbar, they connected on their own automatically. I think the soundbar says searching, and a moment later it's connected. And they're even providing a 5.1 test. You can make sure that the tests are running correctly. It will go through each one of your speakers and play a tone to assure you that you have everything placed in the proper location inside your room. One of the upgrades that comes with getting the 5.1 system is that the remote now contains an LCD. And this is true for both the V51 and the M51. That LCD tells you which mode the speakers are in. It tells you the levels of each of the settings within the speaker system and allows you to switch between settings right there from the remote, and the LCD will alert you to the settings that the soundbar is set up in when you turn it on. So I found the remote to be a substantial upgrade. Now you're going to pay more for this system. This system starts at $249, but once set up, it provided an exceptional room-filling amount of sound. It wasn't just an upgrade to the speaker systems of my television, it provided true surround sound in 5.1 channel surround. It does support DTS surround and Dolby audio, so you get the full effect no matter which one of those services you're hearing from your movie or your video game. I played a variety of video games through it, and the surround sound was exceptional, giving me precise information from where inside the room I was as I walked around. I found it to be both eerie and a little bit exciting as I played games, and movies were crisp and loud. The only thing I would say is that if you place it in the dialogue enhancement setting, you will find that a lot of the sound effects are drowned out even in the back, and you get a very enhanced dialogue that may not be a lot for your taste, but that does give you a few settings where you can kind of fine tune it. One of the things I will say is that the quick setup guide will get you running very quickly with this, but if you really want to dial in the settings for your personal taste, take the time to experiment and play with it a little bit. I found that after just a few minutes of tweaking a few of the settings, I had a very comfortable listening experience, both with loud, exciting movies and with quieter movies where the dialogue was more valuable. And in addition to that, when listening to music or playing games, there were other settings I could select that made it less about surround sound and more about just enjoying the music. Whether you are in Bluetooth or you are listening to music through your optical cable or HDMI cable, there are settings that allow the rear speakers to play in full harmony with the front speakers as opposed to being surround. And you can do that for other 2D settings as well. So if you're just listening to a television show that doesn't broadcast in surround, it will give you a surrounding experience, or at least a louder experience, utilizing the rear speakers more feverishly than it was before. Now, there is one important difference between getting the V51 system and getting the M51 system. The V51 system is not Dolby Atmos certified, but the M51 system, which looks very similar to this, is. The M51 system has surround speakers that are clearly bigger, and trust me, when set up, they are much louder. Also, the soundbar, this is the V51 soundbar. The M51 soundbar, although looks very similar, it is definitely heavier and it's deeper. And although it's just a hair wider, it does produce a lot more sound than the V51 soundbar. Furthermore, the M51 subwoofer goes with a 6-inch woofer as opposed to the 5-inch woofer that you get in the V51 subwoofer. So although they appear very much the same, you're getting a much bigger system for the money. And in listening tests, the M51 was much louder. The rear speakers were in some cases overpowering and required me to turn them down in order to make them something I could actually listen to. But it is Dolby Atmos certified. So I did play several Dolby Atmos movies. Definitely when you are listening to a Dolby Atmos movie, you get the most out of this system. But the only thing is, if you're going to be using this system, you have to be a little bit more careful about the setup. This system will allow for an optical connection, sure, but an optical connection can't pass the Dolby Atmos information to the surround system. So you have to use an HDMI pass-through, which is the HDMI ARC system. So you send your signal to this device first and then pass it on to the television. And it has the pass-through. Again, it comes with all the cables and all the mounting hardware. So if you wish to mount the speakers on the wall, it comes with the hardware to mount both the soundbar and the rear speakers on the wall. It comes with the same remote as the V51, which gives you an LCD screen to tell you what kind of information or what selection you've made for your soundbar. And more importantly, or I think more completely, it comes with a very detailed owner's guide that will step you through all the processes necessary to fine-tune this system to be yours. In listening tests, I set both of these up at the same time and could switch between them. And sometimes I found the M51 to be almost overpowering in how loud it was. Now, I know that I could adjust it and I needed to, but having both of them set up at the same time, I was trying to kind of compare that at all the same levels. And when they were all at the same levels, the M51 was very loud, especially the rear speakers. They really filled in the rear end quite a bit with a lot of sound. And in fact, I would need to tune them down if I was going to actually keep them in my home. The M51 does have a substantial price increase over the V51. It's going to be another $100 to get you to $350 if you want the M51 system. But I think that if you're looking for a more room-filling bass and you really want something that is Dolby Atmos certified, for that price, you're really getting kind of a premium for a Dolby Atmos certified system. There are a couple of things you probably should know about using these in practice that it's not going to be very obvious. Going to the website and looking at details about these, some of the details are a little bit in conflict. Part of that is because it appears as though they market this product and all 4 of these products under slightly different model numbers depending on which big box retailer is buying them. So some of the versions that are shipping to some big box retailers are slightly different than versions that are being sent to others, and their model numbers are slightly askew. If you go to the forums on the Vizio site, you'll see that there's definitely some discussion about that on the forums. One of the things I will say though is that if you have a complaint with the Vizio product, it's clear from the forums that the Vizio spokespeople are very interested in trying to make you happy with the product you have, and they are very willing to go above and beyond trying to make sure you are happy with your product. Again, if we go over all of them, all of these Vizio products produce a very room-filling sound. They are all a clear upgrade to the speaker that's in your TV, and if you're looking for a surround sound experience and you're on a budget, I don't think you can go wrong with the V51 or the M51. It provides room-filling sound, clear 5.1 channel surround, and if you go for the big boy, you even get that Dolby Atmos experience. Well, this has been Eric for Audioholics. Please make sure that if you like this video, you click on that like button, and it would be great if you could go visit us over at Patreon and tell us what you think about Audioholics there as well. Hope you have a wonderful day and keep listening.